How's it going, guys? I'm a bit early, but I thought I'd jump in. I was ready, so I thought, why not? How many people got watching so far? There's actually 3 people waiting, apparently, already. So, hello. How's it going? Leave a comment. Yeah, so I'm just going to make sure everything's right. If I sound okay, please let me know in the chat if it sounds all right. If there's any issues and stuff, let me know. But, yeah, cool. I think that's all working. It looks like it's working to me. I'm just going to pause that, because otherwise I'll get feedback. Cool. So, good afternoon, guys. How's it going? Hopefully you can see me all right, hear me all right. I've not had any comments yet. So, today, as you might have seen by the title of the video, is going to be a bit more of a serious one. So, I want you guys to be aware that it's going to be a sort of a bit of a chat, a bit of a moan. There might be a little bit of a moan. I'm not going to lie, and a very unbiased, honest talk. All right. So, if that's not your thing, maybe go and check out something else. If you want to check this out later on, you can, because I'm going to keep this saved and you guys can see it as it goes up. I've got 11 people watching. I did not expect 11 people to be watching on a Friday afternoon at all. How's it going? So we've got Louise here. We've got Scott. Wednesday. Hello. How's it going? How are you guys doing? You all right? Feels weird. I haven't been in front of the camera like this for a while. So. To be fair, actually, looking at the videos, well, the last time I actually recorded a proper video, was back in April. So it has been quite a while since I've actually been in front of a camera properly. So yeah, Sarah's here. Cool. Hey Nathan, hope you're well. Yep, I'm doing okay. I'm keeping very, very busy. This is kind of like part of the reason I want to talk to you. I've got it structured out, so hopefully we'll get this all out, and I hope you guys can get all the information you need. Where the future of this channel is, what I'm going to be doing, etc. There's quite a lot to go through, but I was going to give it a couple of minutes for people to get in here, but we've got 14 people watching already, so I'm actually quite surprised. So let's just get straight into it. So the first thing I want to say, like I said, today is a little bit of a more serious chat. It's a bit more of a kind of like a bit of a moan. There will be a bit of a moan, so I apologise for that. But the problem is, when it comes to YouTube, there's a lot of like stuff where I want to talk about stuff in a very like, excited, happy, oh, it's so great, oh, look at my amazing life and things like that. That is what YouTube is about. You show the best parts of your life. And as much as I've had some amazing times on this channel, there are obviously things that have led to the point where now I'm kind of like, right, that's enough. And we're going to go through those today. So I apologise if it feels a bit downtrodden, more than usual, but that's what it's going to be. Also, I'm going to mention a few things and a few people in this live stream. Now, these are only to get points across. There's no hate. I'm not having a go at anybody. I'm not jealous of anybody. I'm just saying that this is how it is, and this is like how I feel about the situation. So I know I'm going to mention a few people, so that's why I'll get that out of the way first. There's no hate meant at all. It's just me getting a point across. Okay, so let's get going. So, as you guys know, I recently did a post talking about how the channel was... let's go back a bit. Let's go back to January, actually. Let's go back to talking about when it first started. So, in January of this year, I noticed a sudden dip in views. Now, this is something that happens with YouTube. You get ups and you get downs. It's quite a normal thing. You get sort of lows and highs. But this time was different. It wasn't so much like it was a dip in views because it was January. Because again, if you didn't know, with YouTube, you have like certain cycles throughout the year. So in December, you tend to get a lot more views, a lot more revenue, because advertisers are basically trying to get rid of their budgets by the end of the year so that they can start afresh. And the opposite is true when it comes to January. So in January, they've just got their new budgets, and instead of spending it all at once, they want to hold off because there might be something good in the end of the year that they want to do it, like spend it on. So that's why, like in January, you tend to get a bit of a lull anyway, and that's very, very normal. But I noticed that the channel was getting an unusual low, and it wasn't so much that it was the views; it was more the fact that the channel wasn't getting pushed out. YouTube stopped supporting this channel completely, and it was reflected in the views as well. So I was putting out more content than I had last year. I was putting out better content than I did last year, and it was just going... I haven't actually got my stats up currently, but I think currently I went from about 12,000 to 15,000 views a month last year, and currently at the moment I'm about 3,000 views. So that gives you, it's about a quarter of what I was getting from last year. despite the fact I did 2 trips to countries this year that I've never been to, made some different videos and more videos I normally would, and it was a big dip. So obviously I tried quite a lot of stuff to try and get the channel still to go, to keep it going, and you guys were amazing with that. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who supported me along with that. You know, so many people sharing the channel, trying to get videos out there, going on video binges. Like, I had so many comments from people who are watching videos one after another, which amazingly does help a lot, because it sort of, what YouTube's looking for now is people that go from one video to the next, to the next, to the next. Not so much like so many views, but the same people staying on and going from one video to the next, to the next. So thank you. That really does help. It helps immensely. Bear with me a sec. I am going to be having my lunch while I'm at this as well, so you have to bear with me. What the comments saying? Made it, didn't miss much. No, literally, I've just started. Right, so that was amazing. Like I said, the support I had on that is incredible. I really appreciate everyone trying their best with that. The unfortunate thing about that is that we're very few. If we had like an audience of maybe 1 million, that would maybe have made a huge difference. But unfortunately, we've got such a small audience, because 10,000 sounds like a lot, but it's really not. I mean, if you look at it in terms of views, when you make a video, you should be hitting about 10% of what your viewership is. So if you've got 10,000 people subscribed to your channel, you should be looking to hit about 1,000 views a video. Now, some of you guys might look at that and go, well, hang on a minute, actually, your videos get less than that. And that is true. And that's why, like, I know roughly where the channel is. I kind of gauge it by that. So, yeah, like I said, thank you for everyone who supported, but it was a little bit of a drop in the ocean, unfortunately. But I really appreciate the effort all the same. It was fantastic, so thank you. So I came to the decision quite soon after that, after I basically finished uploading my videos. That was the time limit I was giving myself. I had some videos made, and I was going to keep pushing out videos until I ran out of videos, and then we would see where we were at. And we got to that stage, and we dipped significantly. Now, contrary to probably most people thinking that most YouTubers, especially ones with 10,000 subscribers, are earning a decent amount of money from their channel, I don't. I don't and never have. I've never done it for the money. That's never been my goal. It's always been, to be honest, it's been more of a hobby for me, in terms of, like, when I started this channel, I had no idea how to edit. I'd never really picked up a camera. I didn't know how to do any of that. And that was my goal, was to learn those skills and to keep learning and getting better and better and better and better until I could eventually properly use a camera, properly edit and stuff like that. And I feel like I've achieved that. That is where I'm at currently. I have a job where I work as an editor and a video production assistant. I know how to use cameras. I've got quite a few cameras now. I've got a whole wardrobe full of kit and stuff. One of them behind me right there, the camera there. But I've got a job now. I also work as an editor and stuff, and I do that on a daily basis. So in that respect, I am very happy where I've landed. I wouldn't say ended, but landed. And it's good. But for YouTube, and this is the thing that is kind of the difficult thing, YouTube doesn't care about any of that. When it comes to, like, how good your videos are, how well made your videos are, how high quality they are, they don't care. And it is, and like I said from, well, last year pretty much, I said it is a popularity contest. It is one of those things that if you are handsome, which, thank you if you think I am, I'm not. But if you think I'm handsome, great. But if you're handsome, if you're likable, if you're confident on camera, then you will do well. Simple as that. The actual recording side of things, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at all. Obviously, Colin, for example, has recorded on his phone his entire, recorded and edited on his phone his entire career, and he's doing very, very well from that, and that's great for him. For me, things cost a little bit more because yes, I could just go to editing my phone, but I don't want to. That isn't what I started the channel for. I wanted to do it so that I could learn new skills and progress that way. The problem with that is that camera equipment and stuff like that is very, very expensive. And I'll be open and honest now and say that in the entire 10 years that I've been running this channel, I've earned about £2,000. So if you spread that across 10 years, it's not very much at all. I don't even know off the top of my head, but it's rubbish. It's terrible. And I won't go into what details that other people make, but I know it's considerably more a month. I do know some of the details, but I'm not going to divulge that because that's their personal information. But for me personally, it's about £2,000 over 10 years, which is, if you do the math, it's pretty crap. So, it is expensive. It's one of those things that, like, I definitely don't get enough out of this in terms of monetary value anyway to sustain what I do, like the camera equipment, trips, petrol, travel. There's 1,000 different things that cost money. Just running the computer that I'm doing this on. I've got a £2,000 computer. There's my budget from the last 10 years for YouTube gone. So it isn't sustainable in that way, and it's frustrating. But like I said, that was never my goal. It wasn't to start making loads of money. It was to start and continue to sort of make better videos. And I'm absolutely fine with slowly ticking over and just gaining a few views, a few subs here and there, as long as it's in an upward trajectory. I don't mind how fast that upward trajectory is, as long as it's going up. And that is what changed this year. This year, that trajectory started going down and continued to go down no matter what I did. And that's when I start looking at it and going, is this really worth it? Because I'm doing the job that I like now. I'm doing what I want to do. And I'm spending a lot of extra time and money putting time and effort into this project. And as much as some of you guys love the videos, and I love the fact that you do love them, I still need to see that progression. And I wasn't seeing it. I'm just going to check the comments before we continue. You're gorgeous, Nathan, don't worry. Thank you. I thought you've been slow at uploading videos. Yeah, no. See, this is the thing. I haven't been particularly slow at uploading videos. I mean, now, yes, I've run out of videos now. But actually, for the first, 6 months of this year, I was uploading once every 2 weeks, which is twice what I was uploading the year before, because the year before I really had no time and I had to sort of cut it down to once a month. So I was actually doing double the amount of videos this year in the same amount of time as I was last year, but the views were just doing that. But I think it's because YouTube wasn't pushing them out. So I'm like, I had to rescue a bus full of Harry Potter lookalikes on their way to a convention. When I say rescue, I mean sent them home with a Bovril sandwich each. Oh, Marmite's one thing, but Bovril sandwich, ugh. No. Yeah, so where does that leave us now? So I'll get onto that. I will get into that. So if you guys stay tuned, I will get onto that eventually. But there's a few things I want to talk about and the reasons why I think the channel is struggling. So one of the things that I've thought about for a while is actually the name. And it sounds stupid because I've got the Taser stickers here. Taser. I absolutely love the Taser name. It's I created that logo myself years and years ago, and I've updated it since then, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. And if you don't know, it originally started from the Call of Duty scene. It was originally a Call of Duty clan, and then we changed it to like a PC clan, and from that I started making videos. People wanted to see more of me, so I made more and more videos, and I love the name. The problem is, as you know, YouTube is very woke, and it comes to like things like guns, knives, and if you've only got to look at TikTok, and they use, instead of using dead or death, they use the word unalive, because anything like that is said can sometimes cause issues for your video getting seen, for you getting things like monetization, for getting sponsorships, 100 different things it can cause issue with. But the biggest thing is usually because the YouTube algorithm then won't push that content out to people. And it's that I wonder, the name Taser, although it's not a weapon as such, and it's actually spelled a different way, by the way. Taser is usually T-A-S-E-R. I wonder if that's always hindered this channel. And as much as I want to keep the name, it is something that I feel like if we're to continue going forward at any point, I may have to change it. Which is a shame, because everything is branded with Taser. As you know, the entire website is branded with Taser. This is branded with Taser, my TikTok, everything. But if it's not going to get pushed out to people, then there's just no point. Like I said, it's not about making money. It's about me seeing that steady progression. Whether that takes 100 years to do, as long as it's progressing, I will continue to make videos. But when it's doing this, I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? And it's tough. The other thing I was going to say as well, and this is I'm going to mention a couple of people, but this is, well, I say there's one person I want to mention, it's Neil. But Neil, again, talking to you, this is not meant as hate in the slightest. It's just because this particular situation, it fits, and I'm using you as an example. All right? So with Neil, the Abandoned Explorer, in case you didn't know, as you know, he's been on a hiatus for quite a while. And he's got, I think, about 250,000 subs now. It's... oh, hell on earth then. How's it going? Change it to Scully, yeah, maybe. They'll be like, oh, you can't do that, it's human anatomy. But yeah, so with Neil, obviously, he's got about 250,000 subs. It's one of those things that he'd done really well to get there. He did get a big boost right at the very beginning, and that was kind of helped him with the video that got 17 million views. But if you look at his channel, just looking at the subscriber count, it looks fantastic. And from things like sponsorships and promotioning and stuff, that's not even a word, promotions and stuff like that, it looks fantastic from the outside. But anybody worth their salt who knows how YouTube works knows that in terms of your subscribers, it means nothing. Absolutely nothing. The money doesn't come from subscribers. Your ranking in YouTube doesn't really come from subscribers. Yes, it's kind of like a badge of honor. Yes, you've got 1 million subs or 100k subs, great, you get it all back. But it doesn't mean anything. But companies don't know that. So a lot of the things that people get to promote, or opportunities, trips away, it's all based on how many subs they have. And for me, even though sometimes I've got more views than bigger channels on my videos, they've never looked at me because I haven't got the sub count. And a good example is, again, Neil, please, I'm not having a go. It's well done that you managed to get this many products. It's amazing. But when I look at his latest video, which he's just released, which is not a bad video, it's a good video, but he got a electric bike to do a review on. And looking at the bike, it's probably somewhere in the region of about £2,000 to £3,000. And that's just a guess. I don't know that. Haven't had this conversation with Neil. So £2,000 to £3,000 on that bike. And that video got less than 600 views. And it's a channel that has 250,000. And like I said, I'm not having a go. It's just a really good example of a channel that has a lot of subs that people look at and go, that's a really good channel, we'll promote to that one. And it means absolutely nothing. And people like me who don't have the sub counts don't get the opportunities that other bigger channels do. And it's frustrating. It is one of those things that it really comes down to money, and there's so many other reasons, you know. It's tough. It's just really tough because, like, I want to be able to show you these amazing content. Trust me, I'd love to go abroad somewhere properly, like Japan or something like that, and show you these amazing places. But I just can't. I don't have the funds myself. I don't earn that much money, and I don't have the money coming from YouTube. And it's like trying to compete with the likes of, like, well, even Colin, for example. Colin's got so many videos where he's gone to Bali or to other places, and it's like I can't compete with that. I'm throwing money at voids to try and, like, make amazing content that's on the other side of the world, and I can't do that. And there's so many other channels out there that can provide that sort of stuff. So why on earth would you watch me? It's tough. It comes down to money. A lot of the time, it comes down to money, and it's just not sustainable. Unfortunately. What are you guys saying anyway? Like I said, some of this is going to come across as I'm having a moan, and I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to be brutally honest and sort of say it how it is. Fair play to Neil, for example, for getting those bikes and electric scooters and all sorts of stuff that he's had, and trips to Chernobyl. Amazing. I have no qualms with them at all. Absolutely amazing. Just wish I could have the same opportunities. Do you know what I mean? It's like we do the same stuff quite often. Exactly. Scott just said between a rock and a hard place. And it is. It is exactly that. It's between a rock and a hard place. It's so difficult. Unless you've got a company that's willing to kind of overlook your sub count, which again doesn't mean anything. It's tough to get noticed and get those amazing banger videos that you want to show people. Like, because I know if I got the opportunity to go to Chernobyl, which we were going to do before obviously the whole war broke out, then I know I could sort of like show what I could do. Actually, a little bit of an update on the positive side of things, I'm now a qualified commercial drone pilot as well. So I've done my drone pilot's license, and I've got all that in place now. So it's a shame because, like, I mean, obviously I use it for work, but a lot of the other stuff in terms of exploring and other things, I could have used that loads to fly in amazing places and show you amazing things. But it's, yeah, don't know. But let's move on from that. That's kind of like the why and where we've got to now. Let's move on to what happens next. And there's no easy answer for it, because the answer is I don't know. I really don't. I have ideas, and I think I said this when I posted about this live stream happening. I have ideas that I want to do. I'm not 100% which way I'm going to go. Part of me wants to leave this channel as is. We hit the 10k mark, which is an amazing achievement in my opinion. I'm so happy we managed to hit that. And do I want to just preserve it like that, you know, the way it's left, and then do a fresh start? Or do I want to try and rebrand, change things around, and go from here? And the answer is I don't know. Because part of me is like, well, this is what it is. This was amazing, and I'd love to leave it as this and keep it as this thing, so you guys can all look at the videos, remember what it was then, and start afresh. And part of me is like, well, I've got to 10,000, and I'm like, I need to keep growing from there and see where it goes. Because again, I'm looking at the whole the companies and getting sponsorships and stuff like that. And I start from scratch. I start right from zero again, and it's like, I mean, yeah, I could take off and grow bigger quite quickly, but I might not. I don't know. So it's like, I don't know what to do. I think at the moment I'm leaning more towards rebranding the channel and changing it, and I've got a few ideas. In fact, so much so I've actually got some stuff to show you. So this is what I'm currently thinking of changing the channel to in future. Now, this is much broader than urban exploring. It isn't just a case of like, I just want to do urban exploring, because I don't. There's loads of other things I want to do. There's lots of stuff I've been watching recently, actually, about doing magnet fishing, and underwater stuff, and I'm actually looking at possibly doing a scuba diving license as well at some point, because I think that would be really cool. I know that's expensive as well, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but that's what I've got in my mind. I hate to mention this now, because it was one of those things that I was like, oh, I really like this, and then I found out something about it that I was like, oh shit, okay. So in the time that you guys haven't seen me, I started watching a channel called Adventures with Purpose. Now, this channel is based around using sonar and finding cars under the water and looking for missing persons and stuff. I was like, that's a fantastic idea. Now, I don't think I could quite do the same thing. However, that is something I like the idea of, especially where, like, the thing is, I found out the Adventures of Purpose literally at the beginning of this year as well. The guy who runs it was convicted of being a child sex offender. So I didn't know that. I started watching it. I was like, crap. Okay, but the concept is still good. So if we ignore the fact that that's him, the concept for it is fantastic. And I love the idea of underwater stuff. I like magnet fishing, and I think you guys do as well. And it's more sustainable than going exploring all the time, because you could still travel around the country, because I want to include travel. That's something that I want to do. And although it's going to cost more money, for me it's like, I want to travel. So even though it might be for a video, I like the travel aspect of exploring. That's why I did it in the first place. So I like the idea of going around the country and finding different fishing spots for magnet fishing. I like the idea of underwater videography. So things like underwater drones, or taking GoPros, or diving, and that kind of stuff. I love the idea of that. In fact, one of the things that when I was at college, I took archaeology and 16th century history. I was going to go to Southampton University, which is where I live, because they do underwater archaeology. That was always my plan, was to do that. And obviously I ended up having a life, having kids and things, and that all changed. So that's something that I'm looking at. That's probably going to be quite a lot of time in the making, quite a lot of planning and getting things I need, because I don't have any idea where to start with that currently. But that is a possibility. So what you guys say? A few comments going through then. Money and time stops my channel from growing, working full time. Yeah, this is the thing, is I've got work as well. Obviously, this year we got the wedding as well, which is taking a lot of time out of what I could be doing as well. As always, enjoyed your vids, Taser. 100% support whatever you do next. Thank you. Don't take the channel down, that's for sure. No, see, I'm not gonna take it down. It's either going to turn into something, or this will be left as is, almost like a little memento. Used to watch Sam till Sam left. Well, as in Adventures of Purpose. Which Adventures of Purpose? Yeah, so maybe have a look up, because I didn't know about it. I started watching and I was like, I love this. This is really good content. There's a few others as well. There's Exploring with Nug as well, who does some stuff as well, which is really cool. But yeah, have a look at maybe some of the new stuff, because I can't remember his name. Is it J Sick or something like that? The main guy who runs it. Yeah, there's some bad stuff around him, so maybe have a look at that before you carry on watching. But I just love the concept, and like I said, especially like underwater stuff. I like the idea of that, and finding lost treasures and things. I like that, and I feel like that's a better concept to go through, and it's a bit more YouTube friendly, because again, I'm so concerned with not just the name of Taser, but also, you know, just in general being a bit more not child friendly, but you know what I mean, like it's not so much dangerous activities, which is what they class it as on YouTube. Like if you do something like exploring or roof climbing or something, they class it as dangerous activities, and I feel like this would be a bit more sustainable. So we'll watch whatever you post. I really appreciate that, dude. Somebody said the other day, I was on my Taser Media Productions channel. I posted up a video. If you don't know, by the way, I've got a Taser Media Productions channel, which is all about my media stuff. So I have my own sort of, it's not big or anything, it's like a little media company that I'm trying to get off the ground myself currently, called Taser Media Productions. And I do have a YouTube channel where I post the stuff that I'm doing on that. And there's not much on there at the moment. It's still building and growing and stuff. But I started doing a VHS conversion service, so I posted a video up on that. If you're not subscribed to that, please go subscribe. You just, like I said, Taser Media Productions, go and check it out. And someone said I'd watch it even if you made toast, and I was like, be careful what you wish for. I made a video where I just make toast and you'll have to watch it. And they were like, I would. So anyway, without further ado, so this is, like I said, this is more broad. The title of this channel is more broad, because I want to include things, like I said, magnet fishing. I love the idea of doing documentaries or mini docuseries, that kind of stuff. That's kind of where I want to go into, more high quality, probably less frequently, like released. It probably wouldn't be weekly videos. It would be something like monthly or even 2 monthly, you know, just trying to get stuff out there that's higher quality, longer as well. So probably more like documentary style, longer videos. But yeah, just better in general. So this is what I've come up with in terms of the name and styling. So I'll show you these. So these are the banner and the icon for potentially the new channel name and direction, and it's Low Budget Chronicles. So I wanted something that sounded a bit like documentaries, but I didn't want to use documentaries and I didn't want to use production. So the word Chronicles is a bit of a broader term. Low budget, I think you can guess why it's low budget. But I even thought about the low budget films, that kind of stuff. It's that sort of, imagine this is like the end of a movie and you see the logo coming up for the production company. This is kind of the sort of thing I was thinking of. So less of like Taser being the person, being me, more of, not that I was ever called Taser, by the way. Taser was just what the persona that people took on because my channel was called Taser. But this is more like a production company and the name of the production company. So Low Budget Chronicles. And like I said, I feel like that's going to be the thing going forward, to do with something to do with underwater, something to do with finding treasures. There may be things like metal detecting as well. I like that sort of idea. Geocaching, if you haven't seen that sort of stuff. Kind of a lot of the stuff that I was going to do on my Big Tase channel, but much more frequently, much higher quality, like that. This is what I'm thinking. So, so like I said, it's not set in stone. This is why I wanted to do this live stream, sort of chat to you guys and see what you think, and get your opinion. Because at the end of the day, this is a community. It is my channel, yes, but it is a community, and I feel like you guys have certainly earned a say-so in this, because the amount of support I've received, just recently and over the years, has been incredible. So, This is what I'm thinking. Like I said, I'm still undecided currently about what I want to do, whether it goes on this channel, whether this channel gets rebranded. If that's the case, if I end up rebranding the whole channel, that will take a little bit of time. Okay, that will take a little bit of time, because it's a case of I've got to change the website, and that's just the URL as well as all the branding and stuff. It will take a bit of time, so it won't be happening straight away. If I do it on a new channel, that channel might open up straight away, but again, I would like to get a website sorted for that and all that sort of stuff, so it may change. Katsudon unsubscribing then, no problem. At the end of the day, if you don't want to be around and watch the videos because it's not Urbex, that's absolutely fine. I'm not worried about that at all. The thing is, I've gone down the road of trying to, like, not necessarily make people like me, but I've gone down the road of trying to be what I think people want to see. So in terms of, like, I know that Urbex is much more popular than magnet fishing, for example, you know, because it's amazing and wow, and look at these awesome things that you find, and it's incredible places. But it's not sustainable. It's one of the things that you're constantly trying to one-up yourself or one-up your other friends' channels and stuff, and it just doesn't work. So I feel like I need to do something that I'm going to enjoy, that I can be me on, and just go from there. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. I've not lost anything. That doesn't mean to say that, like, because like I said, I wanted this to be broad anyway, because it doesn't mean that I will never do an urban exploration ever again. This means that I can make stuff that I enjoy making, that's better quality, that I can have a much broader umbrella of content rather than very niche. So that could still, I mean, if I end up going out with my friends and they want to do an explore, and I might want to film it, it's one of those things. I still have friends who are going to be exploring. Colin, for example, you know, and Neil, you know, I know Neil does still do explores, doesn't necessarily upload them all, or any at the moment. Oscar as well. I still have friends that do urban exploration, so it's not necessarily I will never do urban exploration again, but that's kind of what I want. So you don't expect that the whole time. It could be different stuff, but it will be always along the outline of something that's either history based or outdoor activity stuff, because there's loads of things like interesting stories I love the idea of, but again, it doesn't fit with my current content, so it's going to be along those lines, I think. What people are saying. Sticking around, not going anywhere. Thank you. I know I'll be around still, support you whenever you choose, 100%. That's why Out with Butler does not mention Urbex or exploring. He states what he does on the days off or out, but the viewers only seem to want abandoned churches, castles, etc. Yeah, but this is the thing. It is more popular. It is one of those things that is so popular that there are now so many people doing it. I'm a new sub. You can't quit. Oh no. Well, like I said, if you want to watch this back, watch back. There's a bit more detail to it that explains everything. So it's not a case of me 100% quitting. That's a little bit of a clickbait title, I'll be honest. But there are some changes probably happening, and some choices that need to be made. But like I said, if it does change to low budget Chronicles, it is going to be a case of it might take me a little bit of time. So you might find I might reboot this at some point towards the end of the year or the beginning of next, because it's going to take a while to change everything over. And I'd like to get a few, if I was going to do that, I'd like to get a few this way, sorry, that way. There we go. I'd like to get a few videos in the bag done and dusted before I even start uploading properly, so that you guys will have content straight away that you can watch. So yeah, that's where I stand currently. That's pretty much everything I want to talk about today. So if you guys have any questions, you know, do you want to, by all means, ask away what you want to ask? You know, anything. I don't care. Anything. I'm here now. So, where are we at? Sorry, hang on. I think if you enjoy what you do, then it will translate into a good video. Plus, variety is the spice of life. Yeah, it is. At the end of the day, variety is the spice of life. Unfortunately for YouTube, it's just one of those things that doesn't seem to work. Variety is like the bane of YouTube's life. It likes to put you in a category and keep you there. And I think this is the problem, I think, with Urbex currently as well, because with Urbex, it's one of those things where it's put me in the category of I am a dangerous activity, and I've got the name Taser, which is a weapon, therefore dangerous, and that's the category it's post-boxed me in right now, and I think we need to get out of that completely. And this is why at the moment I'm so undecided about whether I do it on this channel or I start a new one, because I'm thinking, if I carry on with this channel, am I still going to be postboxed in that bit for quite a while before YouTube realizes that I've changed content? Or do I start a new channel that might blow up because it's a new channel, because sometimes they get pushed out a bit more, that's not got any of the baggage of the last one? So it's that kind of thing, but I don't know. I will let you guys know in future what I decide, but I wanted to touch base with you guys and give you an idea of where my head's at, basically. Me loves you. Oh my god. Urbex is dead. The thing is, it's a really popular subject, but YouTube pretty much is done pushing out the content for people. So unless you've got an established audience that regularly come back or regularly share your content, getting noticed is like virtually impossible. So, for example, Colin's doing so well because his audience are there, they're established, and they probably share a lot of his stuff. And I know he gets to the paper quite often, which also helps. But it's that kind of stuff that helps push you when YouTube doesn't. And for those of us, who don't get that, don't get pushed out by the audience. And I know you guys do. I mean, like a big audience. Like I said at the beginning, I think it's a bit of a drop in the ocean. If we had like 1 million subs, it may not be so much of an issue. But when you've got a big audience already, and they push you out, or you get in papers or whatever, it gets shared around, that's when the YouTube pushing you out is less important. Does that make sense? Hope that does. Try for 6 months and see how it goes. Maybe bit of a gamble either way, mate. Yeah, this is the thing. It's like decision time, but I don't know which to decide yet. Let me get rid of these anyway, so you can see me properly. They're not covering up my face. There we go. Love the history of buildings too. Thank you. Yeah, see, I still love doing history. History is fantastic. I find history absolutely fascinating. Because I've toyed with the ideas of a thing like. Because I like this idea, but I'm like, is this too niche? This might be too niche. But the other idea I had was there's so many things around in the world. When you walk around, there'll be things that you don't notice that are there for a reason. Things like, for example, if you've ever seen, if you're in the UK, you'll know this. Maybe if you're not in the UK, you won't. But if you're in the UK, there's like bollards. They're like, you'll see them on the streets, especially in London. You'll see bollards, and they're black bollards, and they've got like a dimple on the top and like a ring around the top. And you'll know what I mean if you've seen them, because they look a bit like a cannon. And the reason for those looking like a cannon is because actually some of them are cannons. Those bollards were originally seized back when the English were fighting the French, and every time they sunk one of their ships, they used to dredge up the cannons, and they used them as bollards, almost like to display the fact that they'd beaten the French in the streets. And that is what they are. That's why that design of bollards. We've got plastic ones now that look the same, and that is why those are there. But there's things like that around everywhere that is just fascinating, and I find that so cool. And I'd love to do something along those lines as well. But again, it's very, very niche. It's a history thing. And as much as I would like to do history, I'd rather put history into videos than go full history mode. Because if I went full history mode, that might put some people off because it sounds a bit boring, or it's like a bit like school or whatever. You know, it's that kind of thing. I'd rather put those little nuggets of history into videos that are interesting than make videos on just that, because I think they wouldn't be long enough anyway. Yeah, see, there's 1,000 things going past, you know, in streets. I mean, again, in London's got loads of stuff. There are lampposts sometimes, you'll see them, and they look like lampposts, except they don't have the light on the top. And you might see this, you'll be like, oh, okay, someone's just vandalised this lamppost. But it's not actually that someone's vandalised the lamppost. What they are, they're called stink poles. And this is genuinely true, they're called stink poles. And basically they go to the sewers underground. And the idea was because back in London, years and years ago, it used to be really badly polluted. Like there'd be lots of smells coming out from the sewers and stuff, because obviously the Thames and all that kind of stuff. So they had these poles that came up from the ground that got to above where people would have been walking and above the houses, because back then the houses wouldn't have been as tall. We wouldn't have had skyscrapers and stuff. And the idea is to ventilate the sewers so they're above the heads of the people walking the streets, so you don't smell it. There's thousands of things like that. Like, honestly, I could go on for days about certain stuff. But you walk past these things every single day and you won't even notice. But that sort of stuff's interesting. And this is why, again, with the whole the Low Budget Chronicles. It would be quite cool to do travel and stuff like that, and tell, as we go and travel, we could do magnet fishing and doing some activities or whatever, but also tell the history of the places we're going to. I think that's a really good concept, and it will cost money, and it will probably be a lot harder to make the videos, but I think there'll be better, worthwhile videos in the end. So, yeah, well, I mean, what do you guys think? I think that would be a really cool concept, personally. This is the problem. I've got like a million things in my head that I would love to do, but it comes down to money quite often the time, and it's frustrating. By the way, like I say, if you've got any questions, please feel free. I'm gonna be on here till we've got like 20 minutes till we hit an hour, so I'll be here for another 20 minutes. And if you don't ask questions, I'll just be sat here looking like an idiot. So please go ahead, and please don't mind the fact I'm going to start eating something because I'm actually hungry, and it is lunchtime and I've not eaten anything yet. Like Twitch streaming, it's impossible to get noticed unless you buy subscribers and views. This is the thing, like going back to what I was saying about the whole companies, and how they tend to go with people that have got big subs, thinking that's what will get their product or service or whatever it is noticed more. Sorry, I'm a messy eater, sorry. But that isn't necessarily the case. But the problem is, I would technically, and I'm not saying I would do this, but I would technically benefit from buying subscribers. If I bought subscribers and got myself to 100,000 subscribers, I could approach a lot of companies and say, look, I want to do this. And a lot of them would be on board, because they wouldn't take one look at the views I get. They'd take a look at the subscriber count and go, yeah, 100,000 subs, no problem. And that's where we're at a disadvantage from those people who have got established audiences already. It's really tough. And I would never do that, because for me, that cheapens you guys. At the end of the day, you know, I like communicating with you guys, and I don't want to like have a load of fake subs that don't correlate to views anyway. What's the point? But actually, if I did that, I would benefit from it. And it's like, that's terrible. That isn't a situation where we should be in. People should be looking at the content you're making and the quality of the content, and you know, going based on that. If you're going based on subscriber counts, it can be abused in 1,000 different ways. It's nuts, absolutely nuts. What about making a low budget film? See, again, I would love to do that. I've got a new camera, actually. I don't know if I might have a picture of it somewhere. Hang on, let me see if I can find a picture of it. I'll put it on screen. But I've got a new camera, which I purchased recently, that I'm really looking forward to properly trying out. I've tried it like a little bit, but not like that much. So I'm just trying to find the picture of the camera, if I can find it. I'll put it on screen. Is it there? Is it there? No. Right, I'll tell you what. I'll grab a picture online just of the same. Actually, I know this one. There's one on my website. I'll grab a picture online of it so you can see it. It's a proper movie camera as well. Go. In fact, actually, I'll chuck a link for my website if you guys want any work done for your own channels, or you know anyone who wants stuff filmed. Please do let me know. I'll put that in the chat as well, so you guys can see that. That is my business website. So if you want stuff done, please get in touch. And where's the picture? Oh, there's the picture. I actually got a picture of it. Save image as. Yeah, save that there. Right, I can stick it on here. Sorry, bear me a second. I'm using OBS and it's a bit clunky. Image. Okay. Browse. Sorry, I'm being a man. I can't multitask. Give me a sec. Where is it? Image. There it is. Right. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see that. Oh, maybe that's too big. Maybe that's small. So that is my new camera. I've still got the obviously old camera, which is the one over here, which you can probably see. I say old camera, but I'll keep it both. The whole point is I've got this one and this one, which I'm hoping to use for like the business stuff, and then that way I can like make better stuff. So in terms of low budget films, I'd love to do that, but the thing is, low budget films, when you think of low budget films, right? Low budget films are not as low budget as you think. To put it into perspective, my boss has a friend called Simon Cox who made a low budget film. It's a space movie, and that film cost about £200,000 to make. So low budget. It is low budget, but that is not very low budget for films. Filming stuff is expensive. It really is. This is what frustrates me a bit when I've got like all this stuff that I do things on, and then you've got people that like make videos on their phones, and it's like, oh. Again, no hate to anyone. If you can make it work for you, then great. That's awesome. But yeah, let's get rid of that now anyway. That is the new camera. So yeah, it looks very Swish. It does look very Swish. It's cool. But yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking, and I'll probably do one of those two things. Like I said, I don't know which. I will keep you updated. It'll be on the community tab or on Instagram and things like that about what I do in the future. But that's where my head is at currently, and that's what I'm thinking. Great stuff. Awesome ideas, honey. You will do well. Whatever you decide, we'll be there. Nice, Cam. Thank you. But like I said, if either way, it's going to be a little bit of time. I apologise. You know, if you want to stay subscribed, that's absolutely fine. If you want to scoot off, that's absolutely fine. Whatever you want to do is fine. But I am going to have to sort of take a bit of time just to, whichever one I decide, even if it's just this channel, I have to sort of take a bit of time, because not only have I got this, but the wedding is in the end of October, so I've got a lot of stuff to do between now and then that needs to take precedence. So please just bear with me. We'll get there. But just wait. How are you guys keeping anyway? You hopefully you found somebody else to watch currently. $200,000 can get a house for that. Yeah, you can get a very small house for that in the UK. Maybe in America or something it's a bit better, but yeah, the budget films. Everyone thinks budget films are cheap, and they can be very, very cheap, but they're also crap if they're very, very cheap. I mean, you can make them at college as like a project type thing, but they're usually not that good. This is why people like Tomska. Have you guys watched Tomska? He used to make small, like, parody films. And I guarantee even those that were done very cheap, weren't too expensive, I guarantee he got to a point where even those were costing him a fair bit of money. So you probably a couple of thousand, I reckon, for some of those videos. So they're not cheap at all. Nothing. I mean, it's like the whole urban exploring stuff. You think about how many urban exploring videos I've done. Somewhere in the region about 300. And I've been up to Liverpool. I've been to Sheffield, Grimsby, Manchester, North Wales, South Wales, Torquay, London, Kent, loads of places. I've been to so many places. You think about all of those, the travel involved in those costs a fortune. It's not cheap. Every time you see us stay on Airbnb, we've got to pay for it. It's not cheap. Whether you go by train or car, you've got petrol or tickets. It's not cheap at all. The cameras, you know, that was 1,500, and the new one's about 500. So it's about £2,000. Computer, £2,000. It's none of it's cheap. This is the thing. It is expensive. So, like I said, this has never been about making money for me. I've always bought good equipment because I want to learn how to use it and how to better utilize making videos. For me, it's about the experiences, but also just seeing that progression. Because in a weird way, and this may be just in my mind, maybe this isn't true at all, but I see that progression, even if it's very, very, very slow, that progression is showing that I'm getting better because it's going up. When I see it going down, I'm like, well, what did I do wrong? What can I change? What do I need to change? This obviously isn't working. You know, it's a real psychological pain in the arse, basically, sometimes, because that's how you think. You do think, well, I've obviously done something wrong. It's nuts. It's why you get so many people to get like creator burnout and stuff. And it's tough. It is really tough. Yeah, Coventry. I've been to Coventry. It's extortionate to travel using public transport in the UK. Yeah, it is, because I don't drive. And although it's saying I want to rectify when it comes to after the wedding, that is the thing I want to rectify. So yeah, maybe like I said, after the wedding, once we've got that out of the way, And I hate to say it like that because it sounds like I just want to get the wedding out of the way, but it is a stressful thing. If everyone's ever planned a wedding, it is stressful. So once we've got that out of the way and we've got more spare cash and stuff, I do want to learn to drive. I like the idea of doing some like scuba diving lessons and stuff like that. That's probably around the sort of time you'll start seeing me doing a bit more. So around about October, November after that. So yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. But I need a break. Simple as, I need a break currently. But right, anyway, we've got about 10 minutes left. But if you guys have any more questions, ask them now. Because I've pretty much run out of things to say. And like I said, if no one asks me any questions, I'll just sit here looking like an idiot. So if you've got any questions, please ask. And we'll start wrapping it up here. Like, if you've got any questions about how YouTube works, because like I said, I've been at this for 10 years now. I know pretty much how YouTube works. If you've got your own channel and you want to know what's the best way of doing this or that or whatever, because I think a lot of it is still unknown. Like, I had a client who I worked with recently, and I made him a logo for his YouTube channel. And I said to him about maybe coming and filming some stuff for him. I'd do some like stuff for free at first, and then obviously we can work out a price. Because I know that having run a channel, you don't make much money. So I'm happy to help out other creators film stuff at a low price, if it means I can get experience doing it, and obviously stuff I can show off on my website and things. But he was kind of like aiming his goals on subscriber counts. So he was like, well, I'll get this amount of money if I start going to this subscriber account, and this amount of money if I go to this subscriber account. And I think a lot of that, there's a lot of stuff out there where people still think that your money and how much you earn from YouTube is based on your subscriber count. And this is what I'm trying to say, it is not. Your view count is everything. If you're not getting the views, then it doesn't matter how many subs you got. You could have 10 million subs. If you're getting 200 views a video, you're doing badly. It's as simple as that. Where's the honeymoon going to be? What's for lunch? Okay, we answer the lunch one first. So I've got a very healthy steak slice, which I've eaten about that much of so far. And I've got a packet of Doritos, but I probably won't start those because they're quite noisy. And what was the other question? Where's the honeymoon going to be? That was it. Well, currently we don't actually have a honeymoon planned at all. Again, it's money, so I'm hoping eventually we'll get something sorted, but we're pretty much there with the wedding. We've pretty much got everything, and I mean everything sorted. There's like a few small bits which we're doing, and then we've got to work out the day and how it's going to be run. But apart from that, we're pretty much there. So yeah, it's just once that's done, we're starting our honeymoon, and we love the idea of going away just to a cottage. Like, this sounds so bad because I love my kids, but sometimes it's nice to get a break. And I think for us, we just love the idea of going to a cottage somewhere, just nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, in the woods. We can go for walks and just literally have peace and quiet for like a week. I think that'd be really good. How many Funko Pops have I got? Well, there's a wall of them over there. not literally the whole wall, but there's like a pyramid. And there's another lot over in the other corner as well. I think in total we've got about 120. Because these aren't all mine, some of these are my partners as well. So there's a fair few of them. And yikes, that is a camera. That is a camera. It is a cool camera. Well, I hate eating on camera, but I'm hungry. But the main reason I got that camera is, one, I want to learn how to use a proper cinema camera. And two, because when it comes to recording on this thing, so this is a really good camera, fantastic little camera. You don't often see this, do you? Because this is actually like, usually filming from this, you don't really see the camera much. But it's absolutely fantastic, and I love this camera, and I wouldn't ever get rid of it. But the only downfall it has is it's got a recording limit. So if I was recording continuously, so say for example, I don't know, just as an example, I was filming, I don't know, a golf event. I don't know, that's the first thing coming to my mind, a golf event. And I'd need something that records for a long period of time. This stops after 30 minutes, so you have to like then restart it, which is really irritating. And sometimes as well, if you've not got multiple cameras, you might miss what was going on. So the other camera that I've got doesn't have that. It can record continuously. And you can record to, external recorders as well, which are beneficial because sometimes you might get SD cards and you might get them run out and you might have to swap those out and lose stuff. Whereas you've got the external ones, you can record to multiple different places at once. So one, you've got a backup for where you're recording, so you can like record to an SD card and multiple different externals. So if one fails, you've still got 2 other ways of filming it. And also, if one runs out, you can then change that one while the other one's still recording, and then plug it back in again. It's just if you're doing like commercial jobs for safety, it's a lot better. And someone is ringing me. Go away. I'm busy live streaming. That's probably one of you guys, isn't it? Because I've just seen it put my website. It's probably got my phone number on it. Yeah, so my phone number's the website. Please don't prank call me. If you want some work done, call me, but otherwise don't prank call me. But yeah, what was the other questions? Phil, you there? Defo, just a night away in peace. Yeah, exactly. Just. I mean, when you're parents, I mean, you know this. If you've got kids yourself, the best gift you could be given is peace and quiet and time to yourself. How on earth do you make sure you don't buy duplicates? Buy duplicates? Duplicates what? Oh, the Funkos. Because they have numbers on them. So to be fair, there's like thousands, hundreds of thousands. You'd probably know which ones that you would have or not. But yeah, like I said, they're not all mine. So I think I've probably got the most. I've probably got about 100. I think my partner's got about 20. So there's most of them are mine, but I know which ones I've got off the top of my head. What camera would you recommend for a budget or amateur photographer? For a photographer, a Canon, 100%. You can get, if you're looking for just photography, Canon's probably a very good bet. Because they've got like good color balance. So when you take a picture out the camera, it tends to come out with like really good color balance. But also on top of that, you can buy loads of Canons cheap. So the first one I bought was a 1200D, and that was the very first camera I had. Well, actually, no, I had a Sony before that, but the very first like proper camera I had was a 1200D, and I think that was about, I say, £200 back then, and that was like 10 years ago. It's probably less than that. You can get them really, really cheap. But something like that is fantastic because Canon and third-party companies have so many different lenses cheap that you can fit onto Canon lenses, and especially with photography as well. If you get like adapters, you can fit other types of lenses to them as well. With videography, it's a little bit more difficult because if you use like the adapters that change certain lenses to fit certain cameras, quite often they don't have the capabilities of them recording in auto. So although you can record out of auto, sometimes when you're walking around, it's easier just to have like the focus at least in auto, purely because sometimes you don't have time to properly change it. Like with our exploring videos, you might have to walking from one room to another. I have to change like the focal, like every time, the focal range every time. Whereas if you've got auto, it will do it for you while you're walking, which is really useful. So if you've got like an adapter with videography, that doesn't work, but with photography, get a cheap camera that does good pictures, but also a cheap camera that you can find 1001 lenses for at a cheap price, and then you'll be away. And that's pretty much it. So Canon are fantastic for that. You've got like so many options to choose from. So that was another idea. I've definitely had a few ideas about like maybe doing like tech channels and stuff like that, and talking about stuff because I love gear. I've got a whole wardrobe downstairs with loads of like camera gear and things that I've collected over the years to make videos for this channel, and I love that. But I don't know if that'd be interesting. I think that'd be quite boring. Did you think Corin's hair was funny? When? Which style? He's changed his hair like several times. I'll tell you how I did think was funny. He had, for a little while, he had like dreads, which I think I took a piss out of him in a video actually about him as well, but his dreads were kind of funny. They didn't suit him at all. The first time I met him with the man bun, oh yeah, I got his man bun. Yeah, his man bun's better than the dreads. The dreads really didn't suit him at all, but the man bun was a second embarrassing one probably. Although I haven't said that, I've seen pictures of him, older pictures, where he's got like no beard and almost like a skinhead, and I'm like, you look so weird. You look so weird. talking about Colin, actually, the whole scuba diving thing I was talking about, I actually contacted Colin and said about if he wants to do it as well, because that's something else as well. Got possibly is that I turn this channel into like a joint channel with somebody else, so we can make content together, not exploring, but like other stuff. And that was the other thing I was thinking about as well, is if we did do something like the whole Adventures with Purpose thing, that's not a single person job at all. So, because especially with diving, I don't know if you know anything about diving. With diving, you have to have a buddy with you. It's just, well, you don't have to, but it's definitely much safer to have somebody with you. Otherwise, it's super, super dangerous. So that was the other thing I was thinking about. If Colin and I both learned to scuba dive, that would be quite an interesting kind of thing to do. I don't know. Like I said, I've been mulling over many, many, many ideas for weeks. But yeah. Right, we are just about the hour, and I want to go finish my lunch. So I'm going to say bye-bye for now. Please follow me on here, and especially on Instagram. I will be updating stuff as and when I decide stuff. It will most likely probably be around about the October-November time period that things are confirmed and in place, but I'll keep you updated with stuff before that, if need be. But yeah, once again, no matter what happens with this channel, thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate every single one of you. You know, this is why I don't buy subs. This is why I try and interact with you as much as possible and be honest as well with you guys, because you deserve that. At the end of the day, I don't want to like lie to you and go, oh yeah, I'm going to make this, and then you never see me again. I'd rather be honest with you and talk to you about it. So thank you, all of you, for support over the years, for the recent support. I really do appreciate it. And I'll be back, 100%. In what form, I don't know yet, but I will be back at some point. So don't worry. I will be back. Just last few comments before I do disappear. Have you ever thought about cave exploring? I've done some cave exploring. I have actually done some cave exploring. Not like proper caving with helmets and harnesses and stuff, which is probably the sensible way of doing it. But we have done some cave exploring over the years. I always found I love that kind of stuff because I'm afraid of heights, but I've never been afraid to go in small places. So I quite like, even though I'm quite a big guy, I like going into like tunnels underground and stuff. Never scared me in the slightest. I think that's fascinating, absolutely amazing. Hence why I quite like the idea of going underwater as well. That doesn't bother me. I'm not claustrophobic. It doesn't bother me. But when we did those videos, no one watched them. Like, literally, I did a whole series of like, I think I went to a few different caves. And these were amazing caves. I've never seen anything like it. I will never forget them because I've never seen caves like it in my life. But yeah, no one watched them. They were one of the lowest viewed types of content that I did on the channel. So I just stopped doing them. Simple as that. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to say bye-bye and go and eat my lunch. And I will see you guys very, very soon. All right, I will keep you updated. Like I said, follow me on Instagram and on here if you want to continue watching the videos. If they change, just let me know. And miss out what's going on. If you missed the start, don't worry. This will be available for you to watch anyway. So if you have missed the start, just go and watch it back. It might take a little bit of time for it to come up because YouTube's a bit funny. Sometimes it has to like process the video first, then it pops up, but it will pop up. So yeah. Anyway, I'm off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.